Any idea what to do? 2 root 5 plus 13 root 5? What should it be?
15 square root 5.
Maybe 15 square root 5?
Yes.
Is the root 5, is that a variable? Well, obviously not, because it's not a letter, right? Is it acting like a variable right here?
Yes.
There's 2 roots of 5 and 13 roots of 5, so total there should be 15 roots of 5, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what about this one?
This one would be 5 negative or 5.
5 root 6?
Root 6.
You okay with that? What should we do here?
We should distribute.
Distribute. So what should we get?
6. Oh, 8. Yeah.
8.
My bad.
You're fine.
8, and then negative 4 square root 3.
Minus 4 root 3? Yes? Wait, what part?
What do you not understand?
4 times 2 is 8?
Yeah.
4 times root 3 is 4 root 3.
So when there's a root or something,
Uh-huh.
just put it in front of it.
Well, that's what's happening, right? I'm multiplying,
Oh.
right? Yeah? What about this one? Distribute. Okay, 3 times 4? 12. 3 times root 5. 3 root 5. Please don't be rude. Negative 2 root 5 times 4. Negative 8 root 5. Very good. And then negative 2 root 5 times root 5.
Wait, so it's just cross multiply?
What is root 5 times root 5?
Root 5 squared. 5.
Uh-huh.
25.
This is very similar to what we did yesterday. We just did it backwards. I took a number inside a root and said we could break it into its 2 parts, right? And separated it like this. So does it make sense that I could take these and multiply them together and get this? But guys, what is root 25? 5. So then what's 5 times 2? Yeah, negative 10. So I did negative 2 root 5 times root 5. Root 5 times root 5 is 5. 5 times negative 2 is negative 10. Does that make sense? No?
Yes.
Okay. Typically when you nod your head up and down, that means yes, and when you shake your head this way, that means no. So I'm sorry, I was confused when I said, do you understand? And you shook your head, and I was like, what's wrong? Oh no, I understand. It's okay. Am I finished with this? Oh, I'm not? What can I do?
Add the 2 ones together.
What's that?
2.
2?
And then 3. Negative 5 squared.
Yeah. Can I say 2 minus 5 is 3? Negative 3? So this should be negative 3 root 5?
No.
Oh, why not?
Because that acts as a variable.
It's acting like a variable. Can you combine 2 and 5x? No, then you can't combine 2. I know it looks like you should be able to, right? It looks like because it's 2 minus 5. Except it's really 5 root 5. Those are together. You can't separate them out like that. Does that make sense? So this is my answer right here. Okay?
So how do we get to negative 10 out of that? Can you explain that to me?
I can. I'll be happy to. It's the 2 root 5 times root 5.
Okay.
Okay? It's that last multiplication right here. So I started with the root 5 times root 5. And root 5 times root 5 is root 25, which is 5. So that's taken care of. But I still have this 2 multiplied by the root 5. So I have 2 times 5, because that's what this is. And that's 10. And it's negative because of that sign. They're opposite signs, so it stays a negative. Does that make sense? Any questions? So, first of all, do you need any more adding problems or subtracting problems?
No.
Do you need any more multiplying problems?
Need some division.
Okay, let's do some division. It doesn't seem like you can do anything, does it? But here's what I need you to know. You cannot have a radical in the denominator.
So you gotta move it up. You gotta make it happy.
Well, it doesn't really have anything to do with making stuff happy because that's within our negative exponents, right? But I cannot leave this radical in the denominator. If you enter this as the answer, it will tell you it's wrong because it is. Okay? We can't leave a radical in the denominator. So the first thing I need to do is find the conjugate of the denominator. That's a new word for you, yes?
Yes.
C-O-N-J-U-G-A-T-E. Conjugate. Okay? Now, it seems like a hard word because it's a word you've never seen before. But to find the conjugate of this denominator, well, let me just show you what the conjugate is and that will help, I hope. That's the conjugate. What did I do with the whole number?
The sign.
I left it the same. What did I do with the radical? I made it opposite signs, right? So 3 plus root 2 is what was there, so the conjugate is 3 minus root 2.
Oh, it's just the opposite.
The radical is opposite signs, yes. Okay? Now, if I multiply this problem by this, I have completely changed the value. What's the only thing I can multiply something by that doesn't change the value? 1, right? Can I make this number into 1? How? Isn't that 1?
Yes.
Anything divided by itself is 1, right?
Yeah.
So if I multiply this fraction by this fraction, I haven't changed its value. What we're going to end up doing is getting rid of the conjugate. Excuse me, getting rid of the radical. Radical, yes. You ready? Well, I'm multiplying, right? So multiply straight across. So what's 4 times 3? 12. What's 4 times negative root 2? Negative 4 root 2. Okay, so far?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, this is, like, if there was parentheses, it might be a little clearer what to do, right? I just distribute. What's 3 times 3? 9. What's 3 times negative root 2?
Negative 4.
Negative 3 root 2. What is root 2 times 3? 3 root 2. And what is root 2 times negative root 2? It would be negative root 4, right? Because 2 times 2 is 4. And what is root 4? 2. So minus 2. What happens right there? Because it equals what? 0. Do you see why we chose the conjugate then? Because that gets rid of the radicals in the denominator. So all I have left to do is 12 minus 4 root 2 over what? Which is 7. Now can I simplify this any further?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, I can? How do you think we can do it?
Oh, wait. You can't.
Yeah, we can't, right? It's 7. What if it was 6? Could I simplify it further?
Yes,
You can, because 12 and 4 and 6 are all divisible by the same thing. I don't care if this 2 is also divisible by that because that's inside the radical, right? The only time I can take something out of a radical is if I know the root of it. Okay? But if this was a 6, I could simplify it because these 3 numbers would all be even. But since it's a 7, I am done. Does that make sense? Should we do another division problem?
Yes.
Okay. So 3 plus the root of 2 divided by 4 minus 3 times the root of 2. So what do we have to decide on first? What is the conjugate, right? What is the conjugate for this problem?
4 minus 4 plus
4 plus 3 root 2. This number stays the same. This number is opposite, right? So I have to multiply numerator and denominator by 4 times 3 root 2. So what is 3 times 4? 12. What is 3 times 3 root 2?
9 root 2.
9 root 2. What is root 2 times 4? 4 root 2. Very good. And what is root 2 times root 2? 2. Because it's the root of 4, and the root of 4 is 2. Okay so far?
Okay.
Now denominator. What is 4 times 4? 16. What is 4 times 3 root 2?
That's 12 root.
Good. 12 root 2. What is negative 3 root 2 times 4? Negative 12 root 2. Good. And what is negative 3 root 2 times 3 root 2? It's a negative, right? It would cancel if we were adding, but are we adding? No, what are we doing? Multiplying. So what's 3 times 3? 9. But we also have root 2 times root 2. What is that? 2. So what's 9 times 2? 18. So what does this simplify to be?
So at first we got canceled out. 16.
I've got 12 and 2. 14. I've got 9 root 2 and 4 root 2. 13 root 2. And in the denominator, I have 16 minus 18. Negative what? Negative 2. And then I've got 12 root 2 minus 12 root 2. That's 0. So this is the answer. Questions? You good? What can you do if you have questions later when you're working? Ask, absolutely. You ready?